Hello, I am Jocelyn, a communicator in urological health and male wellness and maturity. Many know me here on the channel as Dr. Jocelyn because I have dedicated years to calmly and openly explaining what is rarely discussed in consultations. The truth about size, circulation, and habits that can support or sabotage your intimate health. Today, we are going to delve into a topic that generates a lot of curiosity: bicarbonate. That white powder you have in the kitchen that your grandmother used for 1,000 things. Now it appears in viral videos promising miracles for your size and potency. And I want that by the end of this video, when you hear the phrase, "use bicarbonate this way and see what happens to your size," you can smile with peace of mind because you will know exactly what is true, what is a myth, and how to use it responsibly to take care of your body instead of harming it. For years, the idea has been perpetuated that there is a right trick, a perfect cocktail, a mysterious homemade recipe capable of changing your size as if the body were made of clay. There are talks of baths, massages, mixtures with lemon, vinegar, baking soda, as if the intimate tissue were a balloon that simply inflates more. But the human body doesn't work that way. Size is determined by genetics, hormones, and early life development, not by what you apply at 50 or the powder you take at 60. What can change, and significantly, is the way that tissue fills with blood, the quality of your erections, your confidence, and your vitality. And this is where habits, including some uses of baking soda, can indirectly influence, although never in the exaggerated way it has been sold to you. I want to start by clarifying something with complete honesty. There is no serious evidence that baking soda alone permanently increases size. There is no baking soda cream, no baking soda bath, nor any miracle drink with baking soda that changes the structure of your intimate tissue. What does exist is a dangerous mix of marketing, desperation, and misinformation that exploits your insecurity. Why does this narrative work so well? Because size remains a topic loaded with shame, comparison, and silence. Many men believe they are below average when in fact they are within the normal range. And when someone appears promising more size with a very cheap ingredient like baking soda, the temptation to believe is enormous. My role today is to help you regain control, not to sell you another trick. Before getting into how to use it responsibly, I need you to understand what baking soda really is at its core. Baking soda is a well-known salt in cooking with alkaline properties. It is used for baking because it releases gas and makes dough rise. In the body, its classic medical use is as an antacid in specific situations to neutralize excess acidity in the stomach. It has also been used in hospital contexts to correct very specific pH imbalances in the blood, always under close medical supervision. In the sports world, it has been studied as a buffer that helps neutralize some of the acidity produced by intense muscular effort. In other words, bicarbonate is far from being a magic powder. It is a specific chemical tool with defined uses, real potential benefits, and clear risks when misused or abused. Now, what does any of this have to do with your intimate health and the question of size? Here comes the part that is actually interesting. Male intimate response depends primarily on blood circulation, nerve function, and hormonal state. Everything that genuinely improves the health of your blood vessels, your blood pressure, your metabolism, and your background inflammation can promote firmer erections and better expression of what you already have. It doesn't grow, but it expresses itself better, more completely, more reliably, more satisfyingly. And everything that sabotages that circulation, excess sodium, uncontrolled hypertension, a sedentary lifestyle, obesity, tobacco, reduces that filling capacity and undermines the very experience you are seeking to improve. What about bicarbonate specifically? Used carelessly or excessively, it can contribute a significant amount of sodium to your daily intake, affect your blood pressure, and place unnecessary strain on your kidneys and heart. In other words, if misused, it can work directly against what you are looking for: healthy circulation, solid, intimate vitality. The very things that make the difference between a confident, satisfying intimate life and one clouded by anxiety and inconsistency. I want you to imagine a 65-year-old man. Let's call him Ernesto. He watches a video where someone promises that if he takes bicarbonate on an empty stomach for a month, his size will increase and his performance will return to what it was at 20. He doesn't stop to ask questions. He doesn't look for evidence. He simply copies the recipe. A large tablespoon dissolved in water every morning. After a few weeks, he starts experiencing digestive discomfort, bloating, occasional nausea, but he endures it because he believes this is simply part of the process, part of the transformation he was promised. After more time passes, he notices something more concerning. He feels persistently bloated. His blood pressure creeps upward. He sleeps worse than before, and his intimate function, rather than improving, becomes more irregular and unpredictable. What happened to Ernesto? He didn't change his size, not even slightly, but he did alter his internal balance in meaningful and harmful ways. More sodium moving through a system that was already under pressure, more strain on a cardiovascular system that deserved support, not sabotage. His body was speaking to him clearly, signaling distress, but he continued chasing a result that science had never once promised him. Now contrast this with another man. Let's call him Luis, 58 years old. He also hears about bicarbonate, reads the viral posts, watches the videos. But instead of acting from desperation, he decides to approach it wisely. Not as a trick for size, but as one small tool within a much broader approach to caring for himself. He uses baking soda occasionally in the kitchen to reduce the acidity of certain dishes. He keeps his consumption within reasonable limits. And above all, he understands that his real remedy lies elsewhere entirely. In improving his circulation, in walking every day, in managing his weight, in reducing ultra-processed foods, in handling stress with intention, in building honest communication with his partner. Luis sometimes uses a warm bath with a small pinch of baking soda to relieve mild skin irritation or chafing in the groin area, without applying it directly to the most sensitive tissue, without rubbing aggressively, and without believing for even a moment that it will change his size. He uses baking soda as a gentle support for the skin when needed, not as a body reshaping tool. And that is exactly where this product belongs, as one simple aid among many, never as the protagonist of the story. Let's now look at the most common uses of baking soda related to the intimate area and examine honestly what each one can and cannot offer. A frequent use that appears in videos and online forums is sitz baths. Warm water with a small amount of baking soda, intended to relieve superficial irritations, chafing, or mild discomfort on the external skin. In some men with intense sweating or particularly sensitive skin, this approach can help neutralize odors and reduce feelings of itchiness or irritation. It is important to be precise about what is actually happening here. These baths act on the surface of the skin. They do not reach deep tissue. They do not interact with blood vessels. They do not modify any internal structure. They do not enlarge anything. What they can genuinely do is improve surface comfort. And when you feel more comfortable, cleaner, more at ease in your own body, your confidence shifts. And when confidence rises, your entire perception of your own size and intimate performance also changes in ways that are real and meaningful, even if they are not structural. This matters more than most men realize. Now let's address oral use, because this is where the greatest risks live. This is where you need to be especially thoughtful and cautious. Yes, small amounts of well-measured baking soda taken occasionally can offer temporary relief from gastric acidity. But turning it into a daily ritual or a strategy to enhance intimate performance is a mistake with real consequences. Every teaspoon you consume adds sodium to your system. In a mature man who may already have tendencies toward hypertension, fluid retention, or kidney stress, this can tip the balance in precisely the wrong direction. More vascular pressure, more arterial stiffness, greater risk for the very circulation problems that are at the root of intimate difficulties. Using baking soda as if it were a male tonic is not just ineffective. It actively confuses its role in the body and may quietly work against everything you are genuinely hoping to achieve. Now I want us to look at the topic of size from a different angle, a more realistic, more honest, and ultimately more liberating perspective. When a man says he wants to increase his size, many times what he is truly expressing is something else entirely. He wants to feel more secure, more capable, more confident in his intimate response. He is not really seeking a change in centimeters. He is seeking a change in experience. Fewer failures, less fear, more stability and presence. And this insight changes everything about how we approach the question. Here is what is actually true. If your circulation is functioning well, if your blood pressure is reasonably controlled, if your glucose levels are stable, and your nervous system is not overwhelmed by chronic stress, your intimate tissue fills more fully with blood and maintains firmness more reliably. The functional quality of your intimate experience improves in ways that are vivid and genuinely meaningful. What does baking soda have to do with this? More than you might expect, but not in the direction most videos suggest. Its misuse can quietly sabotage that circulatory health you depend on so deeply. Think of your body as a delicate system in constant pursuit of balance. The pH of your blood, for example, is maintained within an extraordinarily narrow range through sophisticated mechanisms involving your lungs, your kidneys, and multiple internal buffer systems. When someone promises you that alkalizing your body with daily spoonfuls of baking soda will solve your intimate problems, they are grossly oversimplifying something the body manages with remarkable precision on its own. You do not need to fix your blood pH with powder from a box. What you mostly need is to sleep better, move more, eat with less salt and less refined sugar, quit smoking if you still smoke, drink enough water, manage stress with real strategies, and if necessary, work with a professional to adjust any medications that may be affecting your circulation or hormonal balance. These are the real interventions that favor your functional, intimate expression. The capacity for what you already have to express itself at its fullest natural potential. Now let me share the story of a man named Martin, 62 years old, who came to a consultation and has authorized me to share his experience. He arrived completely convinced that his problem was about size. He had tried everything: exercises, massages, homemade recipes involving baking soda and lemon, and other mixtures that had left his skin irritated and his confidence even more shaken than when he began. When I asked him to describe what worried him most, he did not speak about measurements. He spoke about fear, the fear of failure, his partner's gaze, a specific night when he had been unable to achieve a stable erection and had been trapped in shame and silence ever since. When we explored his health together, we found elevated blood pressure that had not been properly addressed, a sedentary daily routine, poor quality fragmented sleep, and stress levels that had been quietly accumulating for years. His size was never the problem. His circulatory system and his mental state genuinely needed support. We set aside all the recipes involving baking soda and external mixtures entirely. We focused on daily walking, careful adjustment of his blood pressure medication, meaningful improvement in his sleep habits, and opening a space for real conversation with his partner. Months later, his size was exactly the same as it had always been, but his erections were noticeably firmer. His recovery was more reliable, and his confidence, the quality that had been most absent, had transformed completely. He moved differently. He spoke about himself differently. He showed up in his intimate life with a presence he had not felt in years. That is the lesson I want this story to leave with you. The real change was never in the centimeters. It was in the arteries, in the habits, in the mind, and in the courage to tell the truth. There is another dimension I do not want to leave out of this conversation, and that is the role of communication with your partner. Many men begin to experience entirely normal age-related changes, erections that require a little more time, slower recovery between encounters, responses that are less automatic and more dependent on relaxation and connection. And instead of talking about these changes openly, they withdraw. They search for quick solutions online. They expose themselves to advice that is not only unhelpful, but actively dangerous. They undertake practices that can damage the skin, disrupt the natural balance of the area, or irritate sensitive tissue in ways that persist and worsen over time. Using bicarbonate carelessly in the intimate area can dry out the skin, disrupt its natural microbial balance, and create sensitivities that make normal contact uncomfortable or even painful. Imagine searching for improvement and ending up with discomfort from the simple pressure of your clothing. That path leads nowhere you want to go. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do for your intimate health is to say to your partner, calmly and honestly, "I am noticing some changes in my body. I want to take better care of myself. I would like for us to talk about this together." That single conversation can release more pressure, restore more confidence, and improve the actual quality of your intimate connection more than any powder or bath or morning ritual ever could. It is also worth saying clearly that vitality and maturity do not depend on any single product or ingredient. They emerge from a symphony of factors working together over time. Your blood circulation benefits from a diet rich in vegetables, fruits, healthy fats, and quality proteins, and genuinely suffers from a diet high in ultra-processed foods and excess sodium. Your hormonal balance is better sustained when you sleep enough, manage stress consistently, and avoid excessive alcohol. Your nervous system and intimate response are strengthened when you maintain curiosity, warmth, playfulness, and real emotional connection in your relationships. Baking soda does not replace any of this. No powder replaces any of this. But when you take genuine responsibility for your well-being and begin making decisions from a place of self-respect rather than desperation, all those pieces begin to align. And what you see is no longer just a number or a measurement. It is presence. It is calm. It is confidence that does not need a miracle to sustain itself. At this point, you might be asking yourself, so is it worth using baking soda at all, or should I simply remove it from my life? My answer is straightforward. It is absolutely worth using with proper respect for what it is genuinely intended for, and it is worth releasing from the burden of expectations that do not belong to it and that it was never designed to carry. Keep it in your kitchen. Use it occasionally to relieve mild gastric acidity when your health allows and when used as directed. Consider a gentle, diluted bath for superficial skin irritation when it arises, but do not make it the center of your strategy for intimate health and vitality. For that purpose, you have far more powerful and proven allies available to you. Walk for 30 minutes each day. Check your blood pressure and take it seriously. Monitor your glucose levels. Maintain a healthy weight through sustainable daily choices rather than extreme measures. If you smoke, stop. Drink enough water. Sleep with intention. And if something in your intimate health concerns you persistently, speak with a healthcare professional who can guide you with appropriate assessment and evidence-based approaches tailored to your actual situation. I want to close this conversation with a statement that is clear, direct, and offered to you with genuine care. Your real size is not in the bicarbonate. It is in your circulation. It is in your daily habits. And above all, it is in your confidence, which is not something that can be mixed into a glass of water or applied to the skin. Confidence is built through honest action, through consistent self-care, through the courage to have real conversations, and through the decision to stop chasing shortcuts and start building something lasting from within. It is never too late to reclaim vitality and maturity. It is never too late to strengthen your intimate response, to deepen the quality of your relationships, and to feel genuinely at home in your body. But the path there does not run through a box of white powder and a viral video. It runs through conscious, sustained, and self-respecting decisions made day after day. Small choices that accumulate into a different life. If today you decide to leave behind the empty promises and begin caring for your health from the root, from your arteries, from your sleep, from your relationships, from your sense of self, you are already taking a step of enormous significance. Far more significant than any centimeter any video ever promised you. If this message helped you see something more clearly, if it deflated a myth that had been weighing on you while at the same time opening a new and more honest kind of hope, I invite you to sit with that for a moment. Reflect on what you are doing each day for your circulation, for your rest, for your emotional well-being. Consider sharing this with a friend who may be caught in the cycle of miracle recipes or who carries silent insecurity about his size. Sometimes hearing a calm, honest, and unhurried explanation is the most generous gift one person can offer another. And if you want to continue learning, to go deeper, to care for your intimate health with accurate and respectful information, I invite you to subscribe and join me in the conversations ahead. Here, we will keep talking without shame and without shortcuts about what truly sustains your vitality, your confidence, and your presence as a man in full maturity.